Hello guys, and welcome to the second stream in the Forge Alliance Forever Awareness series. My name's Guile, and first of all I'd like to start by saying a big thank you to everybody for their support and suggestions and comments on the previous video. We got a lot more attention than I was expecting, but I think that's probably down to TA for Life. A big thank you to him for featuring the video on his channel. A lot of the responses that were given to me were basically saying, could we have a little bit more professional play and perhaps something a little bit more recent. I will be uploading more recent videos and doing some more casts on more recent videos, but unfortunately the state of play hasn't been particularly great today. I have been looking out for some decent 1v1 ladders, but there's been nothing on so far. So, here is another old one. This is a patch 3599, so it's going back a ways. But some good news. Last night I did log on to Forge Alliance Forever, and there seemed to be around 350 users online, which has to be said, it's pretty impressive. That's a lot more than I ever remember GPG managing. Certainly Halcyon never seemed to have that many on when I used to play back in those days, but yeah, there seems to be a real buzz about this new client, which bodes well for everyone, certainly for the longevity of the game. So this particular one will be a 2v2 on 4-leaf clover, which is one of my favourite maps. It's good for 1v1 or 2v2, makes for some interesting play with these kind of circular areas, and there's a decent amount of mass. The obligatory Tech 1 land scouts and light assault bots going out as usual, attempting to deny one another their early mass points. We have up here SC Account, who's a player I remember playing against once or twice back in the old days. He was pretty good back then, I have to say. He'll be going as the Grey Fim, and his teammate will be Pedro as the Green UEF. And then conversely, opposite him will be another UEF, which is the UEF commander. That'll be an easy one to remember. And down here we've got another Finn, which we are going to call just Mo, I think, for argument's sake. So, yep, a few little Tech 1 battles going off. By the way, on the last video I do remember distinctly mentioning that I was going to be running it in +2 because I wasn't sure that I actually enjoyed the privileged long video status by YouTube. But turns out I'm wrong, and at some point in the past they've given it to me, and I'm not exactly sure how I managed it, but it's very welcome. So I believe I can have some long videos, so if you were expecting a break in the last one and it didn't happen, that's why, and so hopefully we shouldn't need one in this one. I'm not sure quite how long this one's going to run, but we'll run it in +2 anyway, because it's always interesting to fast forward these kind of early phases. We've got some light artillery coming up from Mo, trying to deny, as I say, these early little bits. There's a lot of mass that's worth reclaiming in the middle, so it's nice getting some engineers out there. Just Pedro and Mo both bringing their commanders into the fray. They're not going to be able to do too much damage to one another, but they're going to want to secure the middle as soon as possible, because it's a real pain if you get trapped into your areas, so to speak. Now, Pedro's taking quite a lot of fire here. He needs to think about making a move forwards, dodging some of these, putting in at least some micro, because he's getting a lot of T1 arty fire and it's hitting most of them straight in the face. But yeah, definitely looks like Pedro's not going to be able to secure this anytime soon. I like the move of getting the factories up here instead of having to wait for your units to come to the front and reinforce. He's literally got all this manufacturing base sitting right up here. UEF commander coming to help pressure Pedro. They've easily sensed that this is going to be the weak side, so they're going to try and hem him in as best as possible. And a very cheeky Tech 1 point defense going up very early there to really force Pedro back, and he's got to be careful here. He's getting a lot of fire coming in. He needs to back up. Count bringing his ACU into the fold, trying to give some assistance to his teammate. Some extra Tech 1 vehicles coming in to assist, mainly medium tanks it looks like. Now Mo has to think about backing out as he seems to be surrounded by Tech 1 units. Down to 4,000 HP, he really needs to think about backing up. 2,000 into the red, 2,800. Tech 1 bombers coming out. And there's been an interesting discussion running recently on the forums about Tech 1 bombers and balancing, and some saying they're not balanced in the early game. To be honest, I really think they should be left alone. They are reasonably easy to counter, and if you fiddle with something too much, you run the risk of ending up with redundant units, which is really not what you want. But anyway, Count coming in, he needs to back up, and the wall not complete here from Pedro, which is allowing some Tech 1 units to escape around the back, and this is always a problem. He's going to lose these 2 mass points, and they're probably going to run the risk of losing these ones as well. Long single file stream, which is not ideal, coming up from the UEF commander into SC's base. That's going to get picked off without too much difficulty. Let's have a look at the incomes of the players. Pedro's sitting at 21 mass, UEF commander's at 29, Mo's at 22, and Account's at 38. So Account's definitely ahead on the macro side of things. So it looks kind of even though, seeing as Pedro's looking at short stacking right now. But this is a serious push coming up from the UEF commander. It's a serious set of spam. Got some good coverage. He's got a land scout in there. These 2 tanks are going to go the way of the dodo. It looks like Pedro's managed to repel this little invasion up top, and he's probably going to be able to push these 2 back. But he's still not going to be allowed to get anywhere near these mass points, and the fact that he's lost these as well as Account losing these, that's definitely not where he wants to be at this stage of the game. Count really pushed into his base here. He's not sure he wants to bring his ACU back to defend his main buildings, but if he does so, he runs this. He's really getting sandwiched here, so he's got to make a choice. He's decided to stick with the front, and it's just going to be a question of how much this damage this does. But he has managed to tech up to T2, and he's got a T2 assault bomb, which is going to do so much damage. They're so good against Tech 1 spam because of the rate of fire, and they're really, really quick. They're actually one of my favourite T2 units in the entire game by far. So much damage, and that actually keeps the hydrocarbon alive. The Account makes it out without getting too much damage inflicted upon him, but Pedro now coming under pressure. By the way, if you ever see me, Pedro down to 2,000 hit points, he needs to back up. UEF commander sensing blood there, still trying to pour units in, see if they can finish it off, but I don't think it's going to happen right now. Yeah, so if you ever see me referring to Seraphim units rather than by their name, it's because Seraphim units are horrendous to try and pronounce, so I will not even attempt it. They will just be referred to as assault bots, Tech 2 assault bots, siege bots, whatever. I won't even try and pronounce FAF and what else have we got here? Yeah, I don't even know that one, man. Look at that. El Chauvai or something. It's horrendous. Neither side seemed to make headway with the Tech 1 spam in the middle. There's a lot of air units coming out, but they all seem to be interceptors, so no real damage that can be inflicted. It's interesting he hasn't decided to mix it up and go with some kind of bombs in there, try and sabotage the power over here to stop this defending spam from coming out. They're marking his commander because they know he's low on health. He is up to 2 stars. I believe that'll be 20 hit points a second that'll be recharging there. Lots of artillery fire coming down on him. Pedro just trying to make sure he can rack up those kills. And look at these triads that have gone up in the middle. That's just completely shutting down SC. Desperately trying to lock him into his base. And it looks like that's going to be setting up the fact that 2 commanders here, I don't know, UEF commander's repping Mo. No, he's not. He's assisting him in an upgrade. Probably some kind of building upgrade. It does look like we should call these guys Team 2. Team 1 up top, Team 2. Team 2 certainly seem to have the advantage at the moment. They've really got domination over the centre of the field. Pedro continuously trying to break out, but not managing it. He's got one T2 factory there, all the rest are sitting at T1. He's not really pumping out that many T2 units. He's got a couple of Mongoose coming in. T2 point defense coming up here, and that could cause problems, although Seraphim point defense is horrendously awful. Certainly something I recommend for a balance change if Z pilots or anyone else is listening. A lot of fire coming in from Mongoose there. Not too worried about it. He's only sitting at 16 kills though, so he hasn't even ranked up once yet, so he needs to be careful. It's clearly what this is an exercise in though. He wants to get as many kills in as possible. But they're just leapfrogging point defense into Pedro's base, just trying to shut him down as much as possible. Meanwhile, accounts kind of hemmed in from these three triads, but look at that. That looks like sniper bot fire to me. Where was that? There we go. And they're so good. Their primary weapon just outranges Ravagers, which the UEF Ravagers, the T3 point defense, which is really quite horrendous. But this is not looking good for Pedro right about now. There's a huge torrent of spam coming in, and account is completely cut off from him. I don't see well, he's airlifting something in. Sounds like an engineer or something. Nope. Some kind of T3 unit. That could be a game changer down here, but Pedro certainly needs it, because he needs to rescue this base before the whole thing goes up. Yep, it's a T3 siege tank. That should definitely turn things around if you can get it into the fire. He needs to really move it down. I guess he's kind of distracted. There it goes. But look at this. 3 T2 point defense. That's no, sorry, 2 T2 point defense and a flak. Count looking like he wants to try and break out. He's managed to snipe 2 of the 3 triads that were down here. And now he's getting Tech 3 units out, and you know what, Team 2 down here, they have to be careful, because I'm not seeing a lot of tech on their side. Yes, their building tech is reasonably high, but their unit tech is quite low, and they want to watch out. Just looks like Mo wants to come in here, see if he can get rid of some of these sniper bots. Or at least he should be. He's attacking the wrong things. Let's have a look at what the players can actually see. It's got a fantastic radar coverage. There's one T1 down here.
Under attack.
Looks like the UEF commander's taking some fire there. He's down to 3,500 hit points. He needs to back up. But look at the state of Pedro's base. He's completely hemmed in. And Mo is just reclaiming the factories. That's really quite insulting. Why destroy it? I'll just take the mass. That's fine. There's a couple of sniper bots up here which really could be doing putting some fire on it, but you've got to feel for account. He's got his own problems and he's trying to rescue his friend at the same time. There's just a sort of a continuous kind of Stalingrad relief effort going on here. Oh, Mo needs to back up. He's going to be taking a lot of fire from these bots now, and they're well within range. He can't do anything to them. He's down to 5,500 HP, 4,500, 3,500. Does he even know what's hitting him? He needs to get 1,000. This could be the end of Mo if he doesn't skedaddle immediately. Oh, that was a chance to get rid of him right there. But he knew he was on the ropes, so he'd given all of his stuff to the UEF commander, just to make sure that his team wasn't out of the running. I suspect if he can get himself safe, then he might get his stuff back, but we'll see. Still, the war doesn't seem to have been moved on at all in either direction on the left-hand side. Clearly the UEF commander's worried about TAC missile attacks. He's got a lot of TAC missile defense down here. I'm surprised no one's actually gone for any TAC missile assaults or skirmishes, but we shall see. Excuse the phone in the background. That's someone definitely needs to be ignored right now. Well, you can see is back up to about a third health, thanks to his rank 2 status. Really just looking at a bit of a deadlock here, but that's a lot of units with some very nice chunky ones mixed in there. We've got several Tech 3 siege tanks, and siege tanks are so good because they do have a primary damage weapon which does horrendous alpha damage, but at the same time they have 2 side cannons that fire really quickly, which really make them good at dispatching large amounts of lower tech units. And look at the way he just waltzes through them there. Meanwhile, Mo is making his way up the rear entrance of Pedro. Excuse the pun. No pun intended. This is quite a hefty 45 position that a count has made for himself now. A little bit of a triad war going on. Shield does not look like it's got much left in it. Really needs to be taking out these triads. They're the ones putting the most consistent damage on it, or at least the only real consistent damage on it. There we go. Will he be able to finish it off before the shield goes down? Yes, he will. He needs to focus his sniper bots on the commander though, to stop this position from getting reinforced, because that shield is probably going to fail. Well, I don't know. Right on the bread line. Pedro completely cornered up top though. Tech 1 span on all sides, but he's got his 2 Tech 3 siege tank buddies just brushing aside the opposition. There's some serious hero worship going on up there. He's actually given Pedro command of those tanks just to make sure he doesn't have to micro his mate out of trouble even to it. But that shield has finally collapsed. T2 PD going down, so the tables have kind of turned down here. Both commanders reinforcing this position. Will you take out the shield gen? Still focusing on the commander. Look at those sniper bots though, there's so much damage. I really think those two need to back up. It's not actually a winning position from what they've got there. The sniper bots just carry too much damage, too much range. Meanwhile at top they still haven't finished off Pedro. Getting a Tech 2 radar up so he's got some local vision. It's them pinging a Count's commander. To be honest though, I'm not really sure what they can do with it. Aha, but that's what it's all about. They've got some TAC missiles coming. I don't see any TAC missile defense. Shield straight down on the impact. To not be there anymore. TAC missile defense going up immediately. He really needs to deal with that TAC missile station. There's 3 of them down there, and if that keeps firing, he's just going to lose this position. Unless he can get enough TAC missile defense up and get that shield re-established. Oh dear! Oh. 7,000 HP. It's all well and good then taking care of the static defensives, because he's still got this horrible horde of stuff with some very nasty units mixed in, and I'm still just seeing torrents and torrents of Tech 1 from Team 2. They're not really teching up to match it. It's a fine example of what Tech 3 can do in smaller numbers versus lower tech hordes. But look at him bypassing now, he's going straight overhead, rather curiously targeting a transport. I guess he probably wasn't sure what he was firing at. Have a look at the kind of coverage they've got. It's not a fantastic amount. But look at these two tanks coming in now. They're going to do so much damage, even against the Tech 2 siege bots, which I was raving on about how good they were earlier. To be honest, I think he could have carried on going down, but somehow I've managed to miss him take out those attack missile defense. I'm not sure what he did there. He advanced his sniper bots forward a little, which is of course the one drawback of running it on +2 time. But some of these games would go on quite a long time if I didn't, so I'm going to keep it that way if it's alright. Pedro, with more assistance even still, just trying to push back into his own base. I'm amazed he's not been forced out of the game yet. But look at all this coming into the middle now from the count. He is practically soloing the two of these guys to get out there and take out this attack missile launcher if they can. Seems to be a mission or a sortie to try and break open the front of Pedro's base. He's got a decent amount of attack missile defense now, and he's actually airlifted a bunch of T1 engineers in to reclaim the wrecks. We actually look at where we're standing now. 156 at no, 55. 55 mass for a count. 66 for the UEF commander. Mo's on 42 and Pedro's on a dismal 18. But there we go. Look, this Ravager going up in the middle. Now we're going to see if the sniper bots can do the job. So much range on these things. Shield up in the middle, that's going to be a problem for them though. I do like this play from Team 2, they're finally starting to establish some kind of Tech 3 presence on the field. If they can hold down this base, they might be able to just break the front of a count's base and end this. The siege tanks just do so much damage, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And look at them cleaning up, just that broad sweep. Mo really not bringing a lot to the fight at the moment, except for some commander build power. It doesn't seem like he's done a great deal of work. So obsessed he's been with finishing off Pedro. It's been attack, 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 but he's just been losing it all. He's been coming up against vastly superior units of account. Pedro needs to move. Ow, ow, ow. 1500, 1600 HP from one shot. Down from 22,500. But he's going to be able to secure the front of his base now. I have no qualms in saying. Look at those Ravagers. Entirely protected and sheltered. Given the Count has given Pedro one of his T2 power to help that going on. He's trying to work on a T3 mass, which he has one already. But Pedro really needs to get some attack missile defense up, because he's just going to be coming under fire now. They realise that they can't do a great deal against the Count with it. There goes that factory. He needs to get this up, and the first thing he needs to be building is attack missiles, or attack missile defense, sorry. Because he's really not under any great threat from conventional attacks. Tech advantage is so superior. I mean, he'll lose the odd shield or whatever, but just needs to prevent against those TAC missiles. So much mass littering the field now. Look at that. I feel like both teams should have more engineers out there taking advantage of it. But of course, it's not like Team 1 can do much about it, because look at these Ravagers, but look at those sniper bots, oh my god. I'm wondering whether that must be maybe the edge of their range. Let's have a look. Yep, and he hasn't got radar coverage. Look at that range. I believe the range on the Ravager is 70, I think, and the sniper bots is 75, so it's a very, very minor advantage, but it's just enough to break certain positions. So only aspiring thin players out there feeling like you're always getting outdone by UEF ground targets, again, or turrets, I should say. Minor success there, managing to take out that shield, but again, it's not even looking close to breaking that front position. Mo still sitting on all Tech 2 extractors down here. Tech 1 up here. Really needs to be upgrading his eco, upgrading his tech. UEF still Tech 2 down here. He's got Tech 3 down here, which I think is a kind of an interesting choice. I feel like this might be the safer position, or at least maybe down here would be the safest position to invest time and energy into upgrading your mass extractors. I'm actually kind of surprised Account hasn't done any kind of drop harass in here, because a couple of transports with siege tanks down here could completely change the game. He's got nothing in here whatsoever. Quick drop in here, you could take all of this mass out, all of these factories, and you could literally hen them into the middle of that area that they've been spending so long trying to secure all game. That could be their last stand. Certainly Mo's vulnerable in the same way if he was to bring it round. I suppose they don't know about what kind of radar coverage they've got. They've got a Omni up somewhere. Game time now running at 41 minutes, so this is a long one so far. This area now well entrenched with TAC missile defense. Sensing that they can't outrange the sniper bots, he has built a T2 RT. This is a lot of stuff now with some Titans mixed in, and this could spell trouble for Account. He's going to get out of range, he's going to creep round the back, and he's got to do something about this. He's got a few units back here. He needs to do some kind of enforcement on this side, or at least chase it up from down here. Heavy TAC missile bombardment still headed towards Pedro. Still hasn't got any real significant TAC missile defense up. He had one, there it goes. UEF commander probably needs to back up a little bit. Need to take out these Ravagers at least. But here we go. He's trying to engage again with only Tech 2 units now. What Tech 3 Titans they had in there have been destroyed. It's going to be T2 on T2. Mongoose on assault bots. I think he should engage. He's much more effective at close combat than Mongoose. Mongoose have fantastic range and fantastic alpha, but looks like we've got some T3 mobile RT going down on this middle position. I do like that play. I like it a lot. Point defense they're going in. Pedro once again forced back, but oh my god, Mo got sniped. And that's what happens when you leave your commander in such a vulnerable position. Now the question is, will he give in time? I think the time has passed, to be honest. And that just put Team 2 on the back foot. Sniper bot's still going to work. Tech 3 artillery still bombarding that central position. And I have to say, if it looks like they're going to do what they're going to do, this is going to be quite the comeback. UEF commander now taking significant Tech 2 gunship fire. And of course the only guy with any particular air power on the field was Mo. I mean, they were all out of fuel T1 interceptors, but still, Pedro should probably back up, doesn't want to be taking sustained Ravager fire. Kind of looks like the UEF commander has resigned to losing this one. I'm surprised he didn't go back earlier. Trying to build a flak, but down to 3,000, 2,000, 1,000, there we go. GG! Well, guys, hope you enjoyed this cast. I promise to have more high-level and more recent FAF games for you in the near future, as soon as ones become available. But for now, as I say, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did.